Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May 28th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. Hopefully, you're having a great Memorial Day weekend so far. I know for me, I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I'm productive, but I'm also getting a good amount of sleeping in, despite my crazy just sleep schedule of just like falling out, in the evening, waking up in the middle of the night. We're making it work, we're doing all right. Let's see. I decided to get more donuts, this time of the Krispy Kreme variety. Uh, more like chocolate iced donuts, chocolate ice sprinkled donut. I don't know. I've just been really feeling them. Yum 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 yum. So that's really it in terms of the food. Oh, also I had another piece of cheesecake, so that was good. Keeping up my cheesecake count. So yeah, we're doing good. Getting fat. That's every day. Fatter. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to report or cover? No, I mean, like I said, so far we're having a good weekend. We're doing it up. So let me go ahead and take my normal break and we'll get into some news. My normal break, I don't know. I just got started. What do you mean break? But hey, you gotta get in where you fit in. You feel me? It's like this candle. Oh yeah. Okay. From the Associated Press, Iran exchanges heavy gunfire with Taliban on Afghan border, escalating tensions over water rights. So I don't know, kind of a little bit of I don't want to say serendipity or universal serendipity, but I don't know. I mean, it makes sense though, right? Naturally with global warming, naturally, all the climate change that we have right now. Um, Water is a very hard stuck issue, something that can be very hard fought over. Like I said in the last episode, we literally covered the situation with the Colorado River. So, kind of just interesting to see something play out over here between Iran and then also, the Taliban in Afghanistan, essentially fighting over a territory area, at the border, more or less over water rights. So we can go ahead and just get into it. Um, the Taliban and Iran exchanged heavy gunfire Saturday on the Islamic Republic's border with Afghanistan, killing and wounding troops while sharply escalating rising tensions between the two countries amid a dispute over water rights. The Iran's state-run IRNA news agency quoted the country's deputy police chief, excuse me, General Qasim Rizai, accusing the Taliban of opening fire first Saturday morning on the border of Iran's Sistan and Baluchistan province and the Afghan province of Nimroz. The IRNA said Iran inflicted heavy casualties and serious damage. From the Taliban's view, Afghan Interior Ministry spokesman Abdul Nafi Takor accused Iran of shooting first. Takor said the firefight killed two people, one from each country, and wounded others. He described the situation as now being under control. So it seems that both have kind of said that that at least two people have been killed. The number might have been reported now as higher. I'm not sure yet. Um, and I mean, in terms of future fallout, that kind of obviously remains to be seen. Though it does seem that things have been settled. One more thing I kind of wanted to read before we move along. The clash comes as Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi earlier this month warned the Taliban not to violate Iran's water rights to the Helmand River. Raisi's remarks represented some of the strongest yet over the long-running concerns about water in Iran. I mean, they've been struggling with this for some odd 30 years in terms of just with having a drought. So naturally, this is something that's been kind of a scarce thing. So I mean, I am mentioning global warming, climate change, but this has kind of been an ongoing thing just for the region, the area. They do go into a bit about just the Taliban Obviously the shit that's been going on since 2021. And I mean, the part that, is kind of always been a constant thing is that the Taliban have always acquired weapons. Either we've given it to them, just literally handed it to them, or, by the process of just, being the right place at the right time, doing the work, if you will, they got all the weapons and things that NATO and the U.S. left. From our whole little conflict, war, whatever we were calling it then, war on terrorism. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I guess, surreal almost to see those weapons actually, in practice. I remember I'd seen the TikTok video of a Taliban soldier like piloting a Black Hawk or whatever. I was like, that shit's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the things that they can finance and, fuel, they're going to use, they're going to learn to, operate. So naturally they're going to use them in situations like that, but just kind of obviously ratchets up the tension. Let's see here, but I think that's really all I wanted to cover. I definitely don't think this is something that's going to be an over thing or anything like that, even though they're saying it's settled for now. Let's see, let's talk about another thing going on in the news. From CBS News. Rapper Fetty Wap sentenced to 6 years in prison for drug trafficking charges. So yeah, it looks like it's finally a wrap for our guy Fetty Wap. We covered the story before last year. But Fetty Wap has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for drug trafficking, officials said on Wednesday. His legal name, Willie Jr. Maxwell II, was one of multiple defendants charged and found guilty of being part of an organization that distributed more than 100 kilograms of cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, and crack cocaine in Long Island and New Jersey. He was arrested at New York City Field, home of Mets baseball team, Let's Go Mets, shortly before he was scheduled to perform a concert there in October of 2021. On Wednesday morning, U.S. District Judge Joanna Siebert sentenced him to 6 years imprisonment and 5 years post-release supervision, according to the news release from the U.S. Department of Justice's Eastern District of New York. I kind of bet, with, good behavior and stuff, it'll probably be out sooner than that, so that's, good that he's getting under a decade for all this. But yeah, I mean, he was running a really elaborate scheme of either having it driven, like the drugs driven from point to point, or mailed. I think he was even renting out cars to kind of do the work, and having people drive, and more or less muling the drugs. I mean, he was about that life. He was about that action, I guess you could say. It wasn't just a story. It wasn't just a rap line. But, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I'm fascinated by crime, so naturally I want to talk about it, but then, just getting into it, it's just yeah, you gotta get another person, just a part of the system, gonna go into jail, have their whole life disrupted, and then come back out, and yay, everything's good now, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, there's also others who were sentenced. New Jersey Corrections Officer Anthony Sinji. He was sentenced to 72 months in prison for his role in the crime. The other 4 co-defendants, Anthony Leonardi, Robert Leonardi, Brian Sullivan, and Kavanaugh, or I think it's Kavanaugh, Kevin and Wiggins. Have all pleaded guilty and awaiting sentencing. Probably not going to cover their sentences. They're kind of smaller fish in the story, but naturally the fact that a corrections officer was involved just kind of makes the level of crime, I don't know, more so to me. Oh wow, this is really getting seedy. It's deep. But yeah, apparently they were distributing drugs between 2019 of June to 2020 of June. So yeah, Crime doesn't pay, guys. I mean, hey, I mean, you're like thinking, oh, well, he has a rap career, yada yada yada. You spend a lot of money really quick in this kind of industry. I think even if you are being low key about it, I still think like just living in the area, the studio time, all the work, like unless you have a label funding all that kind of shit, it is not free. And I think people just think you live this like exorbitant, like just carefree lifestyle, and it's like, no, you have to fund it. And obviously, I'm not giving Fetty any passes here, but yeah, he chose to be like, oh, I need to like keep my shit moving. I need another income. Just like anyone doing a side hustle these days, he said, oh, I'm gonna get back into drugs or get into drugs, whatever. So yeah, that shit did not pan out for him, but just goes to show you gotta be careful. Crime like this, risk like that. Ooh, couldn't be me. I'm too scared of jail. I'm too pretty. Okay, whatever. Let me move along. Let me stop bullshitting. From an interesting site, not one I normally go to, IFL Science. A man hospitalized after mistaking Nas Octane booster racing formula for energy drink. Now I gotta tell you, these are the stories that really, I love them. I love them to death. Luckily this man did not, die, so that's good. But like, come on, man. I'm an energy drink enjoyer. It's probably gonna be the thing that takes me out. But never have I ever, because I'm a Nas enjoyer. I like Nas. It's probably my favorite now. I remember the old school bottles that they used to come out with that looked like a nitrix ox, whatever the fuck it was, a Nas bottle. And like it felt very Fast and the Furious. It was very like sign of the times. Like energy drinks were like peaking. So I love the little bottle. It was adorable. I thought it was great. Really felt like it was giving me the zoomies that I was desiring. And people would be like, oh, it tastes like jet fuel. I don't give a fuck. All energy drinks taste like shit. Like none of them taste good. None of them. I learned how to mix drinks in general, doing it sober, mixing like, what is it? Red Bulls with tea, because I just didn't like the taste of that shit as a kid. And now look at me. I'm just freebasing the shit. Whatever. But anyway, this is a story of a 54-year-old man who showed up at an emergency department in Washington, Seattle, after experiencing seizures and a state of agitation. Usually, the onset of seizures would require a bit of investigation, but in this case, there was an obvious cause for the new medical symptom: a bottle of Nas Octane Booster Racing Formula. I don't get this. I do not understand how a human being is going to, in any given point at the store buying this shit, and or I don't even, what are you, a mechanic, and you just have this at your house or whatever, and you just, oh, I've swapped the things out. This literally is a comic book man. This is a man on a cartoon. I don't believe this is a real person. Like, one, because they survived. That's already crazy. Like, it's crazy that they were drinking this shit until the seizures kicked in. So that means they were sipping on this shit. And that's obviously not good for you. Like, not that Nas energy drinks are good for you, but I'll read a bit here. Manganese can cause irreversible Parkinsonian symptoms due to oxidative damage in the mitochondria of the basal ganglia. Significantly less is known about acute manganese toxicity, but no seizures or neurotoxicity were associated with either of the two reported cases of acute manganese poisoning in humans. Let's see. MMT itself, or its metabolites, whatever, have been postulated as a cause of neurotoxicity in animal studies. So yeah, I mean, he drank this shit thinking he was gonna get a little zippy, and he winds up shaking on the floor and needing to be sedated and intubated. I believe it happened like multiple times. But he did recover, and he is out of the hospital. But I just can't imagine how you're getting those two things swapped. Like, they literally look different. That's why I wanted to post both of them. Like, one looks like something you're gonna, like, inject into a car, and the other one looks like it has a cap, and, like, it looks like a bottle like a little sippy bottle, you little baby. I don't know. I really shouldn't shame, the victim here, whatever you want to call it, but this is a big old goof 'em up, and it's only been recorded one time because only one person has been this silly enough, this goofy enough to ever sip on some fucking real nos. So I mean, very Vin Diesel of him, but yeah, I had to cover that story. All right. I got one more break, and then I'm going to cover a prison break. All right. Back from the Columbus dish. Ooh. Oh, I'm withered. From the Columbus Dispatch. Prison break. Ohio escapees had nearly 27-hour head start before reported missing. I shouldn't be giggling. This is kind of scary, right? And it's local, for me, being in this tri-state area. The two men who escaped from an Ohio prison had nearly a 27-hour head start before authorities noticed one was missing at the 11 a.m. inmate count and couldn't be found by 12:45 p.m. on Tuesday. According to Warden Angela Hunsinger Stuff, what a name, at Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution. Police captured James M. Lee near Henderson, Kentucky, but convicted killer Bradley Gillespie remains on the loose. So, hey, you're 1 for 2, but crazy that you went through 7 mandated head counts, but didn't flag either of them missing. It wasn't until 11 a.m. On Tuesday that Lee was reported missing, and then after an emergency count, it was determined that Gillespie was also gone. So that's a big old goof 'em up. Got a lot of goofy silliness today on the episode. Only this time, prisoners are on the loose. Like they said, they did get Lee, but they believe that Gillespie, who is 50 years old, is most likely in the Henderson area, and they say that if you know any information about him, that you should consider him dangerous, and call 911 immediately. And I second that emotion. Don't fuck with that guy. Just ring. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. They got both their mugshots on here. The Gillespie guy, his goes hard. His goes hard as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's because it's drawn or like it's just an interesting filter or something like that. But yeah, his inmate picture goes hard. The lead dude kind of looks like a Fat Joe. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm not surprised he didn't make it. Though he had like jacked a car, so he was driving, but they got him. So I think that's it. Yeah, that's all we got. We can talk a little bit more. No, that's it. He's a murderer. So like I said, he's a spooky guy. Don't fuck with him. But hopefully they catch him. There is a $21,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest or capture of the escapee. So yeah. 2 murders in Paulding County. I found it. There it is. So yeah, do not mess with dude. But that's all we got. That's the episode. It's Sunday, so I mean, Sunday for me at least. Hopefully you're having a good one, a relaxing time, good vibes, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.